Welcome to Questing Taul, batshit crazy ramblings of a jack guitar priest, me. My name is Taul, raised in the bush by my grandfather as a hunter-trapper in a cabin at Harrisbrook for as much as he could get me there until I left at 4.5. And at the other half was the classic, my grandmother's got me, because her daughter is off playing and she's going to give me that classic catechism in that little gray book. So my life was split between two places. When I got very used to the whole concept, it was fine. She was spoiling me rotten and making me into a little low boy and teaching me my catechism so that I would be brainwashed into eternity. And the trouble is, she was giving me a tool because she was teaching me how to read and script write. And that was a beginning that's very dark, and I don't go in there very often because that's the Catholic side. This is the fun side. This is me, Taul, growing up at a beautiful place. Why not call it paradise? What could be better than this? These strangers had bushwhacked me, and Taul knew because things were different that spring. And we'll have what he did was very unique and very weird, and he probably, if I could say the words right now, you pissed me off. You were making me try to hunt with a bow and arrow, and I didn't like hunting because I didn't like blood and I didn't like to see anything dead, particularly something in a trap like a fox. So my grandfather was the one that had my heart, always. Even to this day, even though it got buried very deeply into a black hole for a while. It only took me 4.5 years to find the hole and get out of it. And I had an animal help me. A real spirit who came to me, and I can tell you that. So I have a story that would be fun about a wonderful part of Ontario, typical of any southern Ontario town, except for one thing. There was a dirty little shit-filled river in between two enclaves. East Beach, the hardscrabble side with a couple of really wonderful people, and a state still there. And then the west side, where all the town dumped for weekends in the summer, and those were the merchants and their families and their mothers and the whole bunch. In other words, Wasp, Bowmanville dumped to the West Beach, to the dance hall on the West Beach, run by the Corsons when I was 10. And the East Beach dance hall was where, because it had a road down in the early days, you could go and have a great time. But it opened, Helen and Harry opened it, and it was the part of the world that I was watching. And that's the part I was living in. But the trouble is, they were watching. So Donnie and I are dumped down at the beach. Now I've been with my mother for a whole year doing that indoctrination, brainwashing shit. And the catechism, if you want me to go there, I don't want to. It was weird, but it was okay, because I already knew too much already. That was a problem. She wanted me to prayer me, so make them read like crazy. Make him write a script. I think she had it wrong, because the script sure as hell wasn't needed when I tried to go into grade 1, and I have a wonderful story there too. So it isn't sad. It never really was for me, because once I found this spirit and the way to be safe, a safe haven, my world was fine, because I just went where I wanted to be when I wanted to be there. And I could be as far as 35 miles away from where that house was at East Beach. But the West Beach got to see these two little waves, Donnie and I. And I would wonder what the earliest rumors would have been. Because I'll give you an example of one of the really bad whippings that we both deserved. And we knew it. And that was the morning after Hurricane Hazel. And the dance hall was surrounded with water, and there were huge waves crashing on the beach. So Donnie and I grabbed this tin aluminum boat that Don had just got as payment for a job he was doing, and dragged it down the beach, and we started pushing it out in the waves. Now, you know that it's October. No, we didn't care. We'd run up to Aunt Muriel's and get him in the house by the space heater and dry off and warm up, and then back we go. So we spent the whole freaking day, most of the time, doing this and flipping it upside down. So by the time it got back on the beach, and we know Don was coming home from work, he wasn't at work that day. Anyway, we knew we were going to get crap for this one. And I actually think that this is probably the second time I felt Don was going to be gone for good. We'd had that other time when we were a little bit younger, when we, and that's it, I got just distracted. I want to celebrate Donnie. I want to celebrate the fact that he and I went two different directions, and the stories that I can have for him are incredible. But it's all about the East Beach and the West Beach, and the stories of people from the West Beach watching these two little boys mix Newfies, and if they knew that I was being a priest, I guess the Mastersons and all of you knew that that's what I was trying to do, but they didn't get me into that bloody church very often, because he had to catch me and hold me down, as the old expression goes. No, Don would try his best to get me to go to 7 o'clock Mass with him, and I would do my best not to. But I gave in gently when I was 9 with the cut foot, and I found my first real spirit healer, one Alan B. Sylvester. He saved my life, and my life turned around. I spent almost 3 years battling my mother. Well, take the year in the cabin, then getting to the beach. Gradually, Donnie and I are going our separate ways. He throws the axe at the door, and I'm going, okay, now what you have to understand, at 8 years old, for me, Donnie's that bit older, he's not going to probably think too long, because he hates what's happening here, and he doesn't even understand what's going on right now. And we talk each other in our Newfie brogue, and we weren't much for talk because you didn't need to. It was almost like sign language, but it was head language. Too silent. So Donnie got the bad end of the stick in every way. So if the rumors that went uptown were because of me, then that was us together and I knowing a way to get out of the situation. And that's the end of that tape. My name is Taul. These are Questing Taul.